Welcome back, everyone. This is Akinar here with more Talos Principle 2, where last time we entered the megastructure for the first time, and we found the major revelation that Athena, the founder, is in fact one of, if not the central figure in all of what is going on here with the megastructure and the puzzles we've been doing on the island. It does confirm our speculation that she was involved in some way, which felt pretty obvious to me. There were so many characters that were talking about the founder, this first of the robots, worshipped by some as a deity, and yet she had just disappeared mysteriously, no explanation given. Why would they tell us that if they weren't going to eventually give us an explanation? And while we have not received that full explanation yet, we do know she's very much involved, and we also know now that Miranda is her daughter, which is fascinating. I'm so curious to learn more about that, because we haven't seen this with any other robots. We haven't seen any kind of parental or filial relationship among any of them. What is different about Athena and Miranda, where, you know, the robots have adopted, basically they've adopted the concepts of male and female, but that's despite the fact that they don't reproduce sexually. So why is it that there is this parental offspring relationship with Athena and Miranda? Has she kind of copied her own code in some way, rearranging parts of it like you would, you know, mix the DNA of a mother and a father? Is there a father involved here as well? Question mark. Lots of things to wonder about. I really like what they're doing with the story. It's becoming pretty interesting and compelling. For now, we're going to keep pressing forward and solving puzzles. We've already received our usual preview of the next mechanic. Has something to do with magnetism, but it is the first mechanic that I don't quite get. I don't quite understand exactly how it is going to work. Are we going to be magnetizing pieces of equipment, jammers and connectors? Are we going to be magnetizing ourselves? That feels like that would be kind of dangerous. We've got to find out. We've got to just see this thing in action. So let's gear up here and head to the north side of the island. It actually looks like it does give us access to, I think Melville had mentioned that we could go to two different places. But let's stay in order here, and we're going to go to the Desolate Island, a remote rocky island off the northwestern coast. Survey data suggests the area may be prone to landslides. Are we going to have to be dodging some environmental hazards? What is going on there? I do also see we have a bit of research. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's begin our travels here to the Desolate Island.
You should be headed towards an island off the northern coast. The terrain's pretty rough, so be careful.
The island has another island attached to it.
Yes, it has several, actually.
How irritating.
What?
Oh, Melville. Never change. Okay, it is snowy. It is cold outside. Grab your coats, except we're a robot. We don't need a coat, I don't think. I don't think robots can get frostbite. But we've got another cool structure set into a snowy mountain area this time. And they give us an elevator, an anti-gravity elevator to enter the zone. That's a new one. Okay, here we go. And it is time to solve some more puzzles. I am ready to go here. So ready to do some puzzles. Let's get into it. Oh my goodness. Love these elevator rides. Oh, wow. Okay, so this is... All right, there is a little bit to explore here. The way that they have led us into the previous areas, there's like this expansive zone that they immediately put in front of you. This one feels a little bit more confined. This actually, with the way that this is laid out, with 2 and 3 right here, 1 was right in front of us, it actually feels much more similar to what you would find in the first game, right? The much smaller confined areas. Very interesting layout. Let's go ahead and we'll just start right away here though with puzzle 1. I always have an instinct to just veer off course and explore everywhere you're not supposed to go, but let's jump into Mind-Body Dualism. Very interesting title. Take control. Whoa. Okay. We can take control of another robot. I can't quite see if that is that supposed to be us? It feels like I can't, is there a 1K on the robot's chest? The coloring is exactly the same as us, though. The gold outlines. So do we have... It's not a recorder mechanic. Wow, that was a really cool warp there. That little camera effect. Melville is just as stunned as us, though. Look at that. Whoa, that is a little jarring. But it's not quite like the recorder mechanic from the first game, but it's kind of similar. We just have to, we're not recording ourselves. We're taking control of a clone. We've cloned ourselves. Okay, let's see what this is all about. There is a ladder over to this side, which we may have to take. Now, where are we able to... We can just pass off control through anything as long as we can see ourselves? Is that... No, we can't pass it through force fields. Cannot pass control through force fields, but we can pass it through both the horizontal and vertical bars. Very interesting. Oh, this is cool. So this is not related to magnetism at all. What is... I don't even know what we were seeing now in that lab. They have very much subverted my expectations here, which I love. I love that we're getting something completely unexpected now. It does feel like we have to make our way in here with our clone. I'm surprised that the group hasn't had more to say about this. Melville was the only one. There's usually like, let's have a group call and talk about what just happened. 1K has cloned himself. It looks like, though, that this is what we have to do here too. We're sort of kind of like you would do with two jammers. You have to put one jammer on one side to jam the force field before you can bring the other one through. And now we open the way with this one. This is so strange. Is it going to... Okay, let's just do the puzzle first, and then we'll see what happens. But I have some questions about what's going to happen here. This is so interesting. Wow, what an interesting new mechanic. I think I say interesting a lot, but it is. It's very interesting. It's fascinating. It is curious. It is all of those adjectives and descriptors. We're getting some new interface content. Let's go ahead and check that out right now. Wait, who is walking out there? And what? Okay, our clone is still here. Our clone is still here. That was one of my questions as to what was going to happen. And does it matter? I think this is our clone. Does it matter? Let's take a closer look here. So this is 1K and then 1K. What the hell? Do we have like the same color eyes? We have the same color eyes. We have literally been cloned. What the hell is going on here? If I walk out of this puzzle with the clone, is it going to yell at me? What's going to happen here? This is bizarre. Do the other robots react to this at all? What do you say to this, Byron?
Help you?
Has no idea. He has no clue. There is so much dialogue to get through. Wow. Okay. Let's check our research first, actually. We're going to come back to Byron. Okay, there's a founder mega thread. That's not what I was in. It's the social media coming in with, can somebody talk about what we just experienced? Maybe I'm making a bigger deal of this than it is, but it feels like a big thing that just happened. We've been cloned. Hello? Does anybody want to react to this? This research has to do with inside the megastructure. Okay. We're going to get to that in just a minute, but we're going to keep going here. This feels weird. Like we've left ourselves behind. Have we not? What are the ramifications of this? The game is apparently not breaking. The fact that we have taken a clone of ourselves. This is just normal territory. We're going to go on to puzzle 2 here because apparently there is yet another clone. I'm so interested to see if there's going to be some kind of explanation for this. Okay, so we can't actually open this force field and get to our clone. Does it also say 1K? It looks like it does. It's a little hard to make out with the static of the force field. What was this puzzle called? Leg up. What is this? It's a platform. We've brought back the platform from the first game, except this time it's being, we're using it. This is basically the recorder mechanic, isn't it? It's just maybe a less cumbersome recorder mechanic. It's one that you don't have to commit a whole bunch of time to with your character standing in one place. You just have to pass control back and forth. That's actually pretty cool. I think this is probably a good improvement to that mechanic. Now, how are we solving this? We need to be able to, I think we need to turn this fan on. We need to pass control over here, and we need to go and get on top of this. Because, so we can jump on top, and then it does let us pass control back. Wasn't sure if the camera angle would let me angle, but we're carrying ourselves around here. Oh my gosh. Awkward angle, but this is the world that we're living in now. Look at this. And now, okay, we are not done just yet, but I can take the platform, right? The platform can sit on the pressure plate, no problem. There you go. This is... It's going to take me a little time.
Any further insights on the particle clouds, Melville?
To be honest with you, Byron, I feel like a caveman trying to study Bose-Einstein condensate. I'm seeing unknown particles whose every property violates the laws of physics, apparently capable of being controlled and recombined into just about anything. It's ridiculous.
Maybe someone in New Jerusalem can figure it out.
Sure, just give them another 1,000 years.
Okay, I think I am the only one here who is really blown away by this, just because it feels like the fact that it looks like we have a clone could be a significant storyline idea, but it seems like it's just a puzzle mechanic. It's just the recorder in a different form, and that's no more than that. The game is not making that big of a deal of it, so I suppose I shouldn't either. Let's go ahead and we're going to catch up with the things that we have missed here, or we're going to try to start catching up with them. Let's look at this inside the megastructure. We missed this from last time. From the degree to which vegetation seems to have spread, I would guess the megastructure has been abandoned for a while, although the combination of moisture and heat does create an ideal environment for plant growth. What makes it harder to be sure is that some plants have clearly been placed for decorative purposes, so a lot of what we're seeing may have spread from there rather than coming in from the outside. It's surprisingly beautiful, but also kind of creepy. And we'll take a look at the social media mega thread here about the founder. Please keep discussion of the alleged presence of the founder at the site of the megastructure confined to this thread. I'm still in shock. I wasn't even sure the founder was still alive. Of course she is, and now that we've reached completion day, she sent us her sacred messengers. Oh dear. It could still be aliens pretending to be the founder. Thank you, Jacques. We love Jacques and the alien theories. It's not aliens, and if Prometheus and Pandora are her sacred messengers, why has one apparently chained the other? Thecla, the day of her return is imminent. The founder works in mysterious ways. So now you agree that Byron was right to want an expedition? In fact, it was the founder's will all along? And when you said it would be wrong to even consider going to the island, you were acting against the founder? Ah, someone challenging Thecla. Your word games aren't going to help you when the founder returns, Arinia. It was wonderful to hear Athena's voice again, but with all the emotion inherent in this matter, we should be careful not to get swept away. We don't really understand anything yet. I can't help but wonder, if Miranda is her daughter, was Athena trying to start a new civilization? Did she abandon New Jerusalem? She was always a leader. Maybe she just wanted to experience something private. She just wanted to get away. I can relate to that feeling. Just need to get away and be alone. I think the response that I would end up at, though, is I would probably say it's conceivable. It's not out of the realm of possibility. No, it isn't. The founder would never abandon her people. Maybe she just got tired of sycophants like you. There must be more to it than that, or why create all these puzzles? She must have a plan. All right, let's check out puzzle 3, Dual Stream. So we are continuing this recorder mechanic here. And I think that's why they're not really, the reason they're not really making this a bigger deal than it is because it would be, I don't know, you don't want to care about which one leaves the puzzle. The fact, if you take your clone out of the puzzle, it really doesn't matter. But it is kind of a funny thing. It seems like just one of those things that you would have to address in some way. Okay, you can't actually get back here. We can reach the red power source. There is also a platform here, and we have 2 fans that are kind of permanently powered on. And then we have 2 red receptors. This is not a pressure plate. This was just where our clone started. Okay. So what are we doing here? We need to get power to... We're not high enough. We are not high enough at this point. We have to get... We must get higher. And so the platform has to come into play, I think. So we have to get on top of the platform by using the fan here and then going here. We can take the connector. It gives us a good... it's not like out of reach at that point there, so we can keep the connections and we can do that. Now we can keep holding the connector, I hope, and pass control. The camera angle, we're still not looking perfectly down, but it does let us pass control back, which is nice. And now if we go here like this, we have not set the connector down anywhere. Let's pass control back and see what we can do. Are we able to jump to... We're not able to jump to any of the stone walls. So what are we doing here? We have one platform. Don't we need to connect... Oh, that's the thing I probably forgot to do. I probably needed to... Let me pass control back. I probably needed to also connect to the other red connector. So I kind of need all three of these in place. Why are there two fans? Let me pass control back, and then we'll get up here. It's it's kind of cool that it feels like it takes a longer time to raise. You have this additional weight that you're trying to elevate into the air, and so it takes a longer time for it to do so. Kind of a cool touch. Where are we setting this connector? That's what I need to know here, because we can get line of sight to this receiver from this angle, and we have line of sight to the emitter. What I probably need to do is I need to actually back off of here, pass control back, and then jump onto the fan and put you there, right? And then I get on the fan, or my clone gets on the fan. But here's the problem. This is the problem that we're running into, is that if I go to this side, I get the receptor on the left, but it blocks the right receptor. But if I go over here, I have the same problem, but in reverse. So where do I see both receivers? I only have one connector, correct? Did I miss a connector here somewhere? If I only have one connector, how am I doing this? From what angle are we able to see both? It would have to be like from back here. Why is it telling me to hold X to reset? That's kind of odd. Did I screw something up? In order to see... Wait, do I need to see both of them? Hold on. I might have assumed... The force field's open. The force field is... Oh, I think I see what the problem is here. I was thinking that both receptors were powering the final force field, but that's not what's going on, is it? It's that this receptor is powering the first force field. Okay, I completely overlooked and was, as I always do, starting to overcomplicate things, but all we have to do is just go in sequence here. Lower the first force field, get over to this side, ask control back because we can... Oh, they're kind of floating there. The floating stance. Floating robot stance. That's all we needed. All right, cool. Cool. Excellent. Oh,
Okay.
Melville's waiting to greet us.
I've been watching you solve these puzzles, and this body replication tech,
Finally, somebody's going to talk about
it's
this.
incredible.
It looks pretty incredible to
It
me.
just casually blows up the very foundations of our society.
Does it not? That's kind of what I thought. This feels very revolutionary to me. And why is nobody else talking about it?
Making even just one of us is bloody hard. We're not like toasters. You don't just weld together a couple of wires and a motherboard and call it a day. Not to mention how hard it is to even find some of the materials. And this thing just, poof, new human.
I know, I just walked right in and it was already ready to go, and it's already in the first 3 puzzles. But the goal was to stop at 1,000, wasn't it?
It was. Or was it?
Or
and even
was
if
it?
it was, sorry to be heretical.
Uh-oh.
But does it matter?
Uh-oh.
If
Don't let
we can
Thekla hear you
figure
say
out
that.
How this works, we can finally, easily create more people. We can grow. We can expand. We can build a real civilization. Isn't that worth pursuing?
Okay, so Melville is really against the goal. She is much more, it feels like, in the Byron camp. Byron, I don't know if Byron was technically against the goal, but he's definitely for expansion. He's definitely for having more resources in the way of more robots to be able to do a lot more things. And Melville seems to be in that camp, and there may be a whole lot more that are in that camp, and they just sort of, you know, go with the flow, but they really think something else. It's our cosmic duty to spread consciousness. Yes, manifest robot destiny. So it's kind of giving you 2 opinions of varying strength that are for expansion, and then 2 opinions of varying strength that are against it. And then I don't know. It's interesting that I'm finding myself in the position that I'm often on the other side of, where I kind of think that the goal is this arbitrary number that just somebody made up, but I also don't really understand what nobody's actually explained what that reason for picking 1,000 was, other than that they wanted to limit the growth and not overpopulate the planet. But maybe there are further reasons that I truly don't understand. So it's like, you know, the coming across a fence in the middle of nowhere and you have no idea what the fence is for, and you're like, this shouldn't be here, and you just tear it down. What if there's a very good reason for that fence that you just don't understand yet? So maybe there are legitimate reasons to limit the population.
The mayor seems to think so, but why? What are the actual reasons?
It's interesting that she has the same questions that I have. Nobody has really taken the time, apparently, as long as Melville's been around. She's 142. Nobody has truly actually explained what those answers are or reasons are. It kind of does seem like we're doing fine the way we are. Like, I've only been around for a very short amount of time, and there are power issues and other things, but we also have a very beautiful New Jerusalem, and we're going out on expeditions of discovery and stuff. I don't know. Feels like everything is maybe not too bad.
No, we're not. Maintaining a functional civilization isn't as easy as people think. Just keeping the lights on takes constant work and effort. The average citizen of New Jerusalem may not notice that, but that's because people like me keep everything running. And to tell you the truth, right now, it's all falling apart. It's slow, so most people don't notice it. Even I didn't really want to admit it to myself, but it's true.
That's another really interesting perspective, because I do think that is often the case, that a lot of people don't really work behind the scenes doing the very, you know, nitty-gritty things that keep everything running. And somebody like Melville would be in that perfect position to have a viewpoint to where she sees it's actually all falling apart underneath. But then again, maybe she's very close to the problem and it looks worse than it is. It's all hard to, it's tough to say from a full point of view, because you only have your own individual perspective. But if that's true, we need to change direction as a society. I think that's what I'll say.
That's exactly what Byron has been saying all these years. For the longest time, I just ignored him. Thought he was a bit much. I'm not one for big speeches and lofty sentiments. But the thing is, he's right. He's absolutely right. Anyway, thanks for the chat.
And we get some new interface content here. We'll check that out real quick. Research Melville Minds and Bodies, experimenting with the mind-body transfer. Okay, so this finally, I was going to be so puzzled if nobody talked about this at all. The founder appears to have developed a technology that prints new bodies using those particle clouds we're already familiar with. Oh, is that what's going on? See, that part, that was not clear to me yet at all. Sometimes it feels like they are explaining things that aren't really apparent. How do they know? These bodies come with a protocol for instantly transferring the user's mind. I cannot sufficiently underline how mad this is. The implications would be breathtaking if we breathed. There seem to be a number of safeguards. So far, I've not been able to get this tech to work outside the puzzles. I did manage to sort of make sense of the mind transfer protocol, however, and I'm uploading all the data I've collected. It will need to be studied extensively before it can be used, but I can think of a lot of potential applications. What really grinds my gears, though, is how casually it's all deployed. It takes us ages to make a new body, and here there's a whole bunch of them doing no more than holding up platforms or standing on pressure plates. Is this all a joke? Melville, I think you might be right. All right, regardless of whether it is all a joke or not.
Replication technology is proof of just how vital this expedition is. We may not know how it works and what its limitations are, but the technology itself isn't even what really matters. What matters is to expand our imagination, to realize that other futures are possible. I'm glad you see it that way too, 1K. After all, the world is better with you in it, isn't it?
Thanks for looking at it that way, Byron. The world does stretch out a bit here. I just now am seeing that we've got a path up to a monument. Not exactly sure if it's Prometheus or Pandora. But let's keep working our way toward Puzzle 4. I was going to say, regardless of whether this is a all one big joke or not, we have more puzzles to do. So let's just keep doing those. Regardless of this crazy paradigm shift in technology. Wait, there's actually 2 of us in here. Okay, so we have access to 3 potential 1Ks. 1K cubed. And I think all we're doing here is we're just kind of stacking. Everybody is stacking one on top of the other, because we have to have, the first thing is to take control of a platform and stand here. Is that, oh, okay, let's just see how this works. Let's pass control over. Can we put a box on top of a platform from down here? We cannot. Can we put the box on, I can take the platform from you and I put that down here, and I can put the box, well, I could put the box on the platform, but it doesn't let me take the platform with the box on it. I feel like that's what I want to be doing here. Is that necessary? Can I, what happens if I hold this and pass control over here? Am I able to jump on the box? No. So how do I think I need to take the hexahedron here and just set it down. Maybe it's as simple as that. So now I take the platform and stand here, and I pass control to you, and then you jump up here on top of this, and then I take control. Maybe I'm, oh, okay. I think what we're doing, let's try this. Let's go up here and now pass control back over. No, but we're still short. We're still short, and that's the goal up there. So we need to get one more. Was this called leg up? Is that what this was called? Or was that the last puzzle? This is high ground. We're trying to get to the high ground. How do I get one more link in this tower of 1Ks that I'm trying to build? The box, I can't like get somebody to stand on the box as I'm holding it, right? That's just not how this works. So how does this work? I can get on top of a platform that's being held. Thinking with, because I don't think you could ever do this with recorders. You could do something similar with recorders. Maybe you could do more with recorders. The thing about the recorder technology in the first game was that you could essentially clone different pieces of equipment. So one box would basically turn into 2, where you could have a recorded version that you're standing on, but then also the regular version that's helping you get up So you could double your boxes with the recorder technology. This is a different way of approaching a similar kind of puzzle, but you don't get to duplicate your equipment. So we only have the one box and the one platform, right? Which means, gosh, okay, I'm a little stumped on this at the moment. What am I missing here? There's something that I'm overlooking. There's a key realization that we have to arrive at. This is curious. One of the robots can hold a platform. One of the other things that you could do with the recorder technology was you could have your recorded self jumping. You could have your recorded self sort of jumping. That would give you that extra bit of elevation that you would need. But I don't think we can do that in this case because the control is only passed when you're not moving. We can't pass control while we're in the middle of a jump. So that doesn't work, which is why we need a third version of ourselves. But I don't see exactly where we come into this. We could take the platform, but that causes one of us to fall, right? If I take the box, you fall. I can't like just take the box and you stay on top of it. That's not how that works. And I can't get on top of the box when one of them is holding it. So if I am... Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. A little disorienting sometimes when you're passing control back and forth here. I think I need to go to you, and we need to set the box down. And I need to jump on here. And then pass control back to you. And get up here. Now if we pass control back up, what am I allowed to do? I can't take the box, right? Although I don't even know if that would help me. I could jump back down. There's another platform up here. Tunnel vision, not seeing what's in the environment. Okay, all right. I was definitely missing something. All right, I'll stop being a dingus here. Because, yeah, that was... I was not seeing how we were going to solve that puzzle without another piece of equipment. Sure enough. I need to take control of you, actually. And I need to go over here. Do I need to... Is this high enough? I think I actually need to be on top of the box. So I need you to bring this over here. And you need to get on the box. And then we pass control to you. And there we go. Okay, now I have the two platforms I need. I pass control back over to you. Now, are you able to get on top? So this is where I need to figure out how we... I need to be able to get a robot now on top of this platform. But I think that's okay because I bring you down here. So now I have two that are accessible. And you get up here. I have two robots that are on the same level. I just need to get on one of these platforms. And then you get on top of the cube. I need to do one step first, though. I need to pass control back to this guy, and I need the cube or the hexahedron to be over here. Because I can't... Nobody's going to be able to move the cube once I have everything in place here. And you come over here. And then you... Right, this guy jumps up here, and we bring you over here. Now we should be good. I think, or no, are we still... Nope, I just need to... Hold on. We need to pass control down the chain. This is kind of funny, but I forgot the last step of getting on the box. Now we're okay. My goodness, okay. You've got to look around. You've got to look around your environment. Investigate fully. Otherwise, you're going to be scratching your head.
Well done, 1K.
All 3 of them. And we've got some more fresh interface content. Let's check it out. Body replication, social media post. The technology discovered by the expedition changes everything. Every argument about how hard it is to get access to the resources necessary to create more of us goes out the window. We can create more people. 1K doesn't have to be the last, and it would be easy. Are we really going to give up just because of the goal? Energy doesn't just come from nowhere. We have no idea what the real cost behind this technology is. Fair point. Besides, the goal isn't ideal. Not just a limit we ran into by accident. It is the will of the founder. Yeah, right. It's not necessary to share a personal belief in the founder to understand the value of the goal. It's clear to all but the most radical that humanity needs limits for its own sake and for the sake of the planet. You say that as if it was self-evident. It's not. You're smuggling a whole host of misanthropic ideas into the conversation under the disguise of reasonableness. Your premises are completely rotten. I believe the results of human history speak for themselves, and I find it shocking that anyone would disagree for something so obvious. Shocking that anyone would value human beings and think that maybe our ancestors could have solved their problems using their brains instead of preaching misery for all, that maybe there is some point in blaming other factors beyond technology and growth, like, I don't know, people in positions of authority preaching their self-important morality instead of trying to solve ordinary people's problems. Authority, I'm just an academic. That's completely disingenuous, and you know it. Your clique has the mayor's ear. Clique? I assure you, there's no such thing. This conversation is getting out of hand. If you can't behave, I'm shutting this thread down. This is social media. You guys should have learned that much from your ancestors. I don't like this. Just take it to private. I don't agree with the idea of shutting down the thread as much as I do think that there are issues with social media and the way that people engage on it. I also don't think that the answer is to shut down the thread or shut down the conversation. I think it probably should be allowed. It's either a matter of principle or maybe they are a necessary evil, even though I don't like engaging in them. Maybe they are part of how we move forward and how people work out these issues. And I think that's where I will end up. These conversations are necessary. They should not be banned, even if I don't like them. Thank you, 1K. New Jerusalem is a democracy, and without free speech, democracy is a sham. A lovely sentiment, but you should try moderating this forum and see what it's like. If every conversation is allowed to explode, instability is guaranteed. We have to set reasonable limits on behavior. Thread closed. I'm not so sure I agree with Jeremy on that one, but the thread is closed, and so we will move on with our puzzle solving as we look for puzzle number 5 here. Way down the mountain. Finally seeing the spread out nature of this level. Puzzle number 5, let's check it out. The gift. So I don't immediately see a clone. Are we still doing the cloning in this puzzle? It doesn't look like it, actually. So what are we doing? We have a pressure plate. We have a pressure plate. There is a clone. I was going to say, this would be kind of strange for us to all of a sudden abandon. Wait a second. Oh, there was a pressure plate that I was standing on. I was like, I'm just going to walk to the goal. I'm going to walk to the end of the puzzle here. And nope. There is a pressure plate that deactivates the force field. So we need to get ourselves up here. Or we need to get something up here that can activate the pressure plate for us. So what are we doing? I guess I'm jumping down. But am I jumping down on this side? Probably on this side. If I jumped down here, would I be screwed? Would I have to reset? Kind of interesting. We haven't had too many puzzles where you have to reset in order to keep going. There were a lot. It felt like there were a lot more of those in the first game. But maybe that was the later stages of things. Now, okay, what am I trying to accomplish here? It looks like we're trying to get... There's a fence that's pretty low here, which suggests to me that this box is going to allow us to get over the fence. But the first step is what? The first step is... We do have a ladder that we can climb over, but that's the same as just jumping down. If I activate this, it activates this fan. But that really doesn't do anything for me at the moment. I think I do need to go out into the open, actually. I think I actually do need to do this first because I need to get access to this box. So this... It actually was the opposite of making the puzzle... of forcing you to reset the puzzle. It was actually required to take this step, because now we get access to the box. Which now allows us to access this connector. And now that allows us to open that force field. Now that we have this in place, we can get up here. We can get back up here, but what we really need... I think we might need this connector to be up on this platform. That's what makes sense to me, because then that allows us to take this box and use it to activate the fan. So... Actually, though, I think we still go up here, because you need one person up here to grab the connector. So now we pass control back over to you. And... Does it let me... It had a drop. It had drop on the UI there for a second. Let's see if this is... Well, I can't... I need to pass control. I need you to be closer to the edge so I can pass control back to you. Now I can take the connector. Perfect. That is what I was hoping we could do. Now that opens. Now I can pass control to you, and you can take the box and put that here. And we both can be elevated. And now one of us opens force field, and we are home free. Let's go. Nice. Starting to think in terms of cloning. Oh, and of course, we solve a puzzle and we get a social media post. Of course we do. Oh, man. Sometimes it does get a little... I guess in this case, it's research. It's not social media. Let's check it out. Yakut, spectacular. I don't understand what possible function this structure could have, but it's really, really impressive. Hold on. Could that be its function? Just to be impressive? It's just there to make you marvel at how cool it is. Although these pictures, I have to say, this picture makes it look so much more cloudy. It is really a lot more beautiful than it was in the picture, so I'm glad we decided to check this out. And actually taking a closer look, I think I might see a Prometheus sprite, like we had in the first zone, where you have to chase the sprite. Yeah, there it is right here. How do we get to that? Do I just need to jump down? Over here. I thought the game would crash there for a second. Oh man. There's our funky Prometheus spark music though. Can we just jump down here? Is this safe? It is snow, I guess. But we might trigger an avalanche or a landslide. Groovy Prometheus chase music time. Let's go. I'm guessing that's what's up here, right? That's the statue that we're going to, or the monument. Did I take the wrong path? The music changed. I might have taken the wrong path. Oh, I'm supposed to go down there. Whoops. Gotta go down this way. Okay, here we go. Give me back my groovy, funky jam. Major mistake going off course and losing the awesome chase music. Unless I need to find... Did it not go straight here? Maybe it didn't go straight to the monument. Yeah, see, it's still pointing at the... I think I did miss it. It's somewhere else. It's not here yet. Same message as before. Find my sprite and follow it until it leads you back to me. Let's find where it went. There are potentially some different directions that you could veer off course to explore, but it looks like most of this to the sides is just probably death. There is also a Sphinx monument over there I can see. We'll get to that later. Now, where would it have gone? Did it go in this direction toward the lost puzzle? Is it behind here? There's not a lot of walkway behind here. Oh, that's kind of cool. There's like an opening behind the goal of this puzzle. I might have lost it. I might have lost it. Is there a way to reset the Prometheus sprite? Oh, what is this? Oh shit, there is something behind here. I'm over here like trying to jump on rocks and try to find this Prometheus thing. Oh my god, I fell. Well, there were buttons to press on that behind this lost puzzle, and now I'm kind of, I think, screwed. I don't think there's a way back up now. There's a lot to this area, but I'm gonna take a death here, I think. So far, I'm alive, but I think I'm in a spot where the next step is going to be my last. Although not yet. Not yet. Skiing anybody? Snowboarding anybody? Can I interest you? A little robot snowboard action? Yo, we can walk here? What the hell? Yo, this is a thing? I would have thought this was death instantly. Okay, so we can walk here. Good to know. There doesn't seem to be anything down here. The textures are getting very... Well, the textures do fill in after a minute.
There's an old saying about how, in the end, the sea will claim everything. I have no doubt that this is true. In the long history of the human species, entire regions have disappeared under the waves. Places like Beringia and Doggerland still echo in our cultural memories. But we shouldn't forget that life began in the sea. We are the children of the sea. And it's not through floods and ruin that the sea will claim everything, but through us.
So yeah, it not only turns out that we can just walk around down here, but we even get a little bit of extra dialogue from Byron. Wait a second, there's a fan here as well? There is a fan here. What the hell? This just keeps going and going. I'm gonna get to this fan eventually, but I just want to be thorough here. It is really letting us just keep going and going and going. Will there be anything to find other than that fan? Or am I just getting a nice cardio workout here? There could be something out here, right? There could be a tricycle. There could be a tank. So I have to check. Aha, there is another fan. Okay, so we are way over here now. This just keeps going and going. But there is another fan. Oh, there's a nice little bench out here. I can't sit at the bench apparently, but I will pretend that I'm sitting at the bench and just enjoying the cool little view. There is a structure over here. It looks like a terminal. So the initial little area there in the when we came up the elevator was definitely not giving us the full picture here of what was going on. So there's a palm reader out here. I'm gonna keep looking around. We'll come back to that and make a note. Let's just keep circumnavigating this. This is definitely taking the long way. My WASD fingers, they're getting a workout here. And it looks like we have fan number 3. What the heck are these gonna do? I swear though, there better be a freaking tricycle out here. Otherwise I'm gonna be pissed. No tricycle just yet, but we do have fan number 4. I know I'm not the one actually doing the running here, but I am really starting to actually feel exhausted. This is taking so long. Why am I doing this? It looks like we finally come full circle because this is, I think, the first fan that we started at here. You can see the Prometheus monument up there. And we didn't find anything, goddammit. All we found were more fans that kind of connect across. But we don't know what these fans do yet. So maybe this was all not in vain. I was hoping to find a tricycle. Did not find one. But let's find out what this fan does. It does carry us a very long way. Oh my god, the visual effect there. Whoa, okay, we just barely survived that. Hi, Yakut. Did you not see us? Did you just not? We were doing our Rocket Man impersonation there. My god, though, that took so long running around the island. I actually feel exhausted from that. I got to figure out where we kind of left off, because I think we were looking for... We never found the Prometheus Spark, but we did find Prometheus Spark, Prometheus Sprite, whatever it's called. But we did find this thing back here is behind the lost puzzle. It was just a little layout of buttons, which we didn't get to press any of them, but it strikes me as something that might be a Sphinx puzzle, right? Like we're gonna go to the Sphinx and see like a picture of what buttons to press. So we'll leave that the way it is for now, and we'll go investigate the Sphinx in a bit. But first, let's do another puzzle. Let's do a lost puzzle since we are actually here. Let's check out passing through. All right, we can take control of you, which allows us to get a jammer. Allows us to get a jammer, and now we are outside here. What else do we want to do? Eventually, we want to be jamming the force field that goes to the goal. There's a platform here. Where are we wanting to elevate ourselves? We do need to be mindful of the fact that there can now be equipment in tough-to-reach places. I feel like there was something around. Yeah, there's a box here. Okay. So there's a box. And that allows us to do what? We have a platform and we have a box. What are we trying to do? We want this jammer, don't we? We need to get this jammer outside so that it can lower the force field at the end. So are we trying to get the jammer over this, just over this wall? Is that all we're doing? Am I allowed to do that? If I bring this box in, and then I get this platform, and I take control of you, and I get on top. I actually want the jammer, don't I? I want the jammer. And now I pass control back over and get on top of the box and pass control back. Now I can drop the jammer. I don't think I can drop the jammer outside. It's going to drop the jammer inside. So this is not quite it. Right? I can't drop the jammer when I'm in the air. Could I drop the jammer over the force field? Should I have put the box over here? Was that my mistake? Let's try it this way. This is a new type of objective that I don't think we've... I needed to grab the jammer. I don't think we've had before in any other type of Talos puzzle, where we're trying to just put something directly over a force field. But it looks like the same limitation is here. We've got the same limitation. However, what if we don't need to bring the jammer out? What if we only want the jammer to be jamming that force field from behind here? Like, what if we could... Let's take control of you and bring you down here and now pass control back. Let's say we get on... I kind of need it at a different angle. What I'm thinking is trying to activate the jammer directly on top of... Directly on top of... It's not letting me do it. When I go to jam something, it's defaulting to this force field. How does this work actually though? If I set this to jam this force field, can I take control of you and actually move? Whoa. I think that's a new mechanic. That has to be a new mechanic. I don't think we've ever done this before. The ability to place a jammer on top of a platform. Could you have done this in the first game? Was this a thing in the first game and I just never... I don't think the puzzle or the game ever had a puzzle that in the first game that it wanted you to do this. And if you could even do it. It makes me curious to replay the first game potentially, but this is kind of a game changer. Because now you have to think that equipment, normally this would not be allowed. Because if you had this jammer on the ground and you were over on the other side of the force field, you try to pick it up, the game draws you right back to the other side of the force field. It pulls you back and does not allow you to take, just like you can't take a driller through its own hole, you can't take a jammer across from in that direction. But in this way, there's like, I don't know exactly how it looks. Maybe we can see if we go to third person here. There it is. The jammer is swiveling. That is fascinating. The jammer is actually swiveling as we move along. This is a whole... I'm a little bit blown away right now that this is letting us do this, but that I think is the solution to the puzzle, because now we get to pass control back to you, and we have the ability to take the jammer and jam this force field, and we're there. That's cool. Oh my goodness. Okay. That's one of those moments, one of those aha moments where you've all of a sudden opened up a new way of doing things.
Spending years in
so
such
fun.
A desolate place. For what? Science? Enlightenment? I'd much rather be back home in New Jerusalem.
I think it's beautiful in its own way. But I don't understand how our ancestors could survive here. They were so fragile. Imagine getting stuck out here in the cold. I wonder if there are wolves.
It's kind of a miracle biological humans lasted as long as they did.
All right, let's go ahead and catch up with Byron a little bit here. Try to work through some of his dialogue. Let's start with this one. I noticed that Miranda called Athena her mother. That's the one that seems most interesting to me, or that I want the answer to.
Did, yes.
Is that usual?
Some people in New Jerusalem choose to live in family units.
Ah, okay.
Usually that involves marriage or equivalent ceremonies, not having children.
Ah.
You could say that Athena was a kind of mother to us, and Cornelius a kind of father, but it's not quite the same.
So they do have the concept of familial units. I guess there are 1,000 of them. We've only met a fraction of them so far, but that is a thing. Why do you believe that there should be more people?
I think every single human being is completely unique, and every instance of consciousness is a miracle. The more of us there are, the more alive the universe is. And the more we all interact with each other, the more complex the life of the universe becomes. So I believe that people are a fundamental good. I don't believe we're all flawless, but I think every one of us matters precisely because nothing else does.
I was hoping we'd have the follow-up question of how does this new cloning technology factor into all of this, but it doesn't seem that we want to go there with Byron. Does your faith in humanity ever waver?
In the principle of it, no. It's not just that I believe humanity is fundamentally good, although I do. It's that I think sentience is the foundation of everything else. What's the point of stars and galaxies, of hills and forests, without someone to perceive them? But my faith that we can actually grow up, that we can break out of these loops and take control of our destiny, that's something I struggle with every single day.
Do you believe in the existence of something sublime or transcendent?
In the sense of an interventionist deity? No. I wouldn't rule out the possibility, but it's not something I personally believe. But I do think there is something genuinely sublime in this universe, and it's right in front of us. Consciousness. The fact that this sense of self is even possible, that an arrangement of matter can produce a self-aware mind? Think about it. It's a fundamental property of the universe, an unbreakable law that matter has the inherent capacity to become more than the sum of its parts. That is the definition of transcendence.
Very interesting to think about. It's also kind of echoing what Athena was saying to Miranda in the vision or data stream that we saw. Why don't you tell me a joke? What kind of jokes you got for me, Byron?
How many robots does it take to change a light bulb?
I don't know. How many?
Replacing a light bulb is a waste of resources, and the founder would be outraged.
That's kind of terrible, actually.
You know, Herman had the same reaction.
Speaking of Mayor Herman, how exactly did he get elected?
Herman? Honestly, I think he makes people feel safe. The world beyond our walls is frightening. Human history is full of failures and disasters. It's easy to look at that and recoil. Herman offers a vision of the future that feels contained, manageable.
We'll play devil's advocate here. Is that so bad?
For a little while, no. Everyone needs periods of rest, but as a permanent choice, yes. I think it's regression, decay.
What if Athena left the island long ago? What if she's no longer here?
Then at least we may be able to find out what happened in New Jerusalem, why she came here. But I don't think she left the island. I think she's still here, waiting for us to make the right choices.
What if it's a hoax? Someone faking her voice. Athena deepfakes. Let's go with what makes you think that.
It's hard to articulate. There just seems to be so much intent here. There has to be a reason for all this. And Athena is the only reason that makes sense.
Do you think the megastructure technology could be misused?
Could be, yes, of course. All technology has the potential to be misused. From fire and the wheel to whatever makes these particle clouds. But that doesn't mean it has to be.
So if technology isn't the problem, why did our ancestors destroy themselves?
Because they refused to grow up. They refused to take control of their lives. They let bureaucrats and financiers determine their destiny, and those people could not think beyond themselves, beyond the tiny, insignificant moment they were trapped in. Their technology could have saved them, but what really failed them was their imagination.
What are the implications of Melville's analysis of the particle clouds?
Athena was always trying to understand the reality underneath what we perceive, the objective truth. That's why she was capable of leaving the simulation. And even after she was free, she never stopped trying to understand more. I suspect her research took her another step closer to understanding the truth. And such steps always challenge our conception of the universe. But that's the wonderful thing about science. We can adapt our views to the evidence.
So we've kind of lost track of the Prometheus sprite. We might have to do a reset, maybe, to get that thing to go back to where it started. I don't know where it went for now, but let's move on to puzzle 6. And it looks like we've also got a Miranda audio log that we can pick up along the way. I'm still not sure what this sound effect is, why this is such a, feels like static, like a disruption in the simulation kind of thing. Why is that a little detail that I'm curious about? But let's pick that up.
If we believe that life is inherently valuable, if we think that other species are worth preserving, and we recognize that most of the universe is barren, then it follows that we have a duty not only to defend life, but to spread it. If life is the most valuable thing in the universe, then perhaps, in a sense, the cosmos itself is depending on us to do this. Like birds carrying seeds to uninhabited islands. Maybe that's our role in the galactic ecology.
So puzzle 6 here, 2-body problem. We have a driller. And we also have the eventual goal, which needs a blue laser. Let's take control of our clone over here. 2-body problem. We've got a box. And there are 2 pressure plates here. This one opens up this force field. Okay, so we get access to this connector. And here is where the blue source is located. The blue emitter is here. Was there a red as well? There is a red receiver here. And there was a red source, I think, in here. Maybe behind these force fields. This force field probably opens up this, or I should say this pressure plate opens up this force field. So let's put the box on there. Right, there is the red emitter. So we probably need to first open up this. We need to open up this force field with the red first, probably by putting it through here. And then we open up this force field with this pressure plate. Now, I did not quite leave myself in a position here where I could take control once again, so we need to maybe put ourselves here so we can stand on this pressure plate. And now that door should be open, except I still... Ah, they have thought of this. Almost. We just need to back this up, because now it's on our side. Now we have another connector. And now we probably should be able to maneuver our way into getting blue. Access to blue. I don't think we need the red connected anymore. So we can pass this back through here. Can we also pass control back through a driller hole? Probably. But where is our... Where did we leave ourselves? Over there. So now we should be able to bring two connectors through. Pass control back over. And pass the second connector through. Curious to see what the wrinkle is going to be here, because this feels like this is pretty straightforward. Because if I connect this up like this, I can stand here and now pass control back over. Straightforward. And we've got it. We're getting attuned to thinking in terms of duplicate 1Ks. Multiple 1Ks. We have a private message. Does that mean we are finally getting contacted by Doge once again? Oh, we have an introduction from Rand. Never mind. Okay, humble greetings, number 1000. This is Rand. Our friend... Oh, never mind. Our friend Doge has assured me you're of sound moral character, and your insightful analysis when we met in the city draws me to the same conclusion. Rand, he was the guy that was next to the terminals in the museum. Am I remembering that correctly? So he's one of the robot Illuminati, huh? Why don't you tell me what this is all about? This matter demands that I be forthright. New Jerusalem requires strong moral guidance. Your expedition only makes that more urgent. We must end the incessant debate over the ethics of the goal and focus on becoming the best people we can be. Life seems to be so complex, but I'm sure the answers are quite simple. Consider our species. Like our ancestors, we're just tubes with inputs and outputs. Yet we run on code so complex that we barely understand it. But the answer is simple. Garbage in, garbage out. It's our moral duty to use our instinct for good inputs to correct the bad outputs. I feel like there are perhaps multiple premises there that I'm not necessarily in agreement with, but why don't you tell me more? Good, because I have a great deal more to discuss with you, but first I'd like to answer any questions you may have about me. Who are you? Where are you? Why are you? I just want to know what you want with me. That is kind of true. Why don't we see what he says to why are you? Answering that question is my life's work. We know our ancestors left behind a computer simulation with access to the archive and the hope it would produce the true sentience, and we are now here and we are sentient. The real work is filling in the gaps, but the more code we unravel, the more clear it becomes that we exist for a reason. Okay, why don't we go through all the dialogue here? Who are you? I'm one of the foremost scholars on the digital archives and the simulation which gave us life. Reading the code on which we run gives me insight which others lack on how we ought to live. Maybe that's filling that in. If we had not done our exploration in the museum, we kind of knew that already. Where are you? In my laboratory at the museum. Lately, I've been analyzing the connections between our information libraries and the birthing algorithm, but I'm yet to find a pattern. Okay, I just want to know what you want with me. Let's get to that. Get to the juicy stuff. My studies prove that we, as a species, are no accident. We are the outcome of billions of years of careful machination. It's my firm belief that the big questions have answers, and that they're encoded into our very souls. Imagine objective answers to why we're here and how we ought to live. It would be the most important scientific and philosophical discovery of all time. A provable, practical moral code, literal code, which already exists within all of us, without which we could not function. And you and I could be the ones to transcribe it. I can't yet tell you why, but I've reason to think that island holds the key to the puzzle. All I ask of you is that you stay true to your principles regardless the cost. So what do you say? Is the world a better place if we work together on this? Sure, why not? Let's work together to find the answers. I knew you were one of the good ones. Well, usually there's a bit more of a ceremony when someone new joins the cause. Nothing fancy, just some tests of your faith and some homegrown simulations, but that will have to wait until you're back in the city. In the meantime, welcome to the Order of Uriel. Okay, I might have just done something very momentous. I was just kind of going with the flow of the dialogue because it does feel like this is a part of the game that they want you to experience, but it does feel like we've maybe just joined the robot Illuminati, actually. So is this some kind of secret society? Oh, absolutely. Most people can't begin to understand the complexities of our work, and some even seek to undermine it. One day, we'll have answers we can share more widely, but until then, it's best we preach largely to the converted. So is there a secret handshake? Among scholars in the know, there's a phrase we found in the archive that we sometimes use to get one another's attention without exposing our meaning. Dark satanic mills? Yeah, that's totally not an out-of-the-ordinary phrase that would arouse suspicion from anybody that they're around some crazy lunatic conspirators. Are there others? I mean, we kind of know there are others, aren't there? Or don't we know this already? Many of those who explore our code arrive at similar conclusions and share our ambitions, though I've studied the archive for longer than any. Be one with faith, my friend. You are not alone. Are there rules? Of course, but I trust you are already familiar with the crucial ones. Remember, it's not up to you or I to create the rules of morality. It's the rules of morality which create you and I. Oh God, I don't know that I fully understand all that I involved in here, but we're just going to keep going with the flow. And like you said, I'm just going to keep solving puzzles. Hopefully I didn't do the wrong thing here. And let's go ahead and grab this palm reader while we're over here. On Cornelius, author error from the personal reminiscences of Mitku. There are some people whose true importance you just don't notice at first, people who quietly hold things together without making a big deal of it. That's what Cornelius was. Always by Athena's side, he calmly and carefully helped us all stay on track, reminding us of our shared humanity and the values that had brought us this far. I cannot imagine how painful it must have been when Athena left him behind. When he went on his so-called research expedition, most people thought he went looking for her. To be honest, I thought he might never come back, and I was surprised when he finally did. I still don't understand how she could leave him. They seemed to love each other so deeply. After he returned, Cornelius was different. He found the Museum of the Simulation and very rarely left its premises. The archive scholars doted on him, but he walled himself off, becoming almost as much of a recluse as Eustathius, and only then did I slowly understand how much the city had lost. I had kind of forgotten about that. Cornelius did mention that they had a much deeper relationship. So I wonder... I had asked earlier if Miranda might have a father. Could this be Cornelius? I don't think they're quite connected in that way, but that is an interesting connection that I had not thought about for some time. Also, why does this say terminal? What? What is that about? Blake, author William Blake, 5358. Oh, wait a second. 5358, that's the number that we've been seeing this whole time. God appears and God is light to those poor souls who dwell in night. But does a human form display to those who dwell in realms of day? What the heck is that all about? 5358. I don't understand. Why is this just a poem? Is that all this was this whole time? I feel like there might be a lot more to the story there, but I'm not sure what's going on with that. The Prime Mover, author Eustathius, excerpted from Considerations by Eustathius. While it is hard from our vantage point to fully believe in any of the ancient religions, I must admit that I've come to believe in the existence of a Prime Mover, not a designer as such, certainly not an interventionist god, but some force that set the universe itself into motion. I do not know if it is possible for us to ever truly understand this being, since it must by definition exist outside our understanding of reality, but I do believe that it exists. Does it look upon us with love? Are we entertainment, perhaps? Does it preserve some memory of us when we die? All of this I cannot answer, but I do not disbelieve those who honestly speak of having experienced some manner of brief communion with this entity. It's simply too common an experience in human history to easily discount. As the motion of the universe proceeds from the Big Bang, so whatever force animates us, whatever constitutes the true foundation of consciousness, proceeds from the Prime Mover. Miranda, what do you think about this, Mother? Athena, I don't believe in any kind of Prime Mover, but I thought you should read it because Eustathius is an intelligent person, and he came to this conclusion after a great deal of thought. It's important to respectfully consider points of view we don't agree with. Two really overarching themes that the game keeps seeming to emphasize: consider a lot of opinions. Also, maybe there is some grand force behind the universe in some way, although it seems that Eustathius and Athena both think that that grand force takes a different form. On Modernity, author unknown, from the book of annotated internet comments by Eustathius. If modernity is so great, why is everyone so fundamentally disappointed with the world? Why do we sigh with pleasure at the sight of old houses, but feel nothing but depressed and alienated by skyscrapers? Why do we yearn for lush forests and wide plains, not narrow canyons between buildings? 5358. We love all this. I think it means to say, if we love all this technology so much, why is our idea of happiness to get away from it? Could it be that progress is just a story we tell ourselves to justify why we allow ourselves to be dominated by inhumanity and older forms of living have something to offer? It seems that many of us share this desire to immerse ourselves in nature. Though we are ourselves entirely technological beings, we enjoy and value the Earth's diverse and unpredictable biosphere. But does that mean that progress is just a narrative, as the ancient commentator suggests? Or does it mean that technological progression and a love of the natural world are not, in fact, mutually exclusive? And yet, if this person was left on his own somewhere in the wilderness, he would feel nothing but terror. The appreciation of nature is rooted in the experience of civilization, of safety. Athena, true, but he's still right. So much of what our ancestors created in their last years was alienating to the majority of people. Then the question isn't one of modernity, but of control. All right, time to check out Puzzle 7 here. No, this is not Puzzle 7. This is the Golden Gates. There is our progress. As we've been filling in the stars, we have 6 so far, and we're going to eventually need 12 for the one side and 12 for the other. Basically, all the stars in the game. I am now noticing something else that has lit up, though, that I had not noticed. I had not noticed these notches up here, which now appear to be openings in the megastructure. So I think this shows us that we have lit 3 beams on one side of the megastructure. That seems to be the indication here. So not only do we have to get all the stars, but we do have to complete all of the areas, or 8 of the puzzles in each of those areas, in order to light the beam and proceed forward. Good to know. So it looks like puzzle 7 is in fact over this way. Here we go. Let's check out puzzle 7, Redshift. Redshift. Hello. A friend to help, as we have had each in the previous puzzles. And we have a connector up there that we need to get. So how are we doing that? There is a fan here that lets us do what? It lets us see this. It lets us see this blue source. But we really need to get that connector first. There was a platform over here. I was going to say, there must be a platform around somewhere that I'm missing. So I think one of us, the person on the pressure plate, needs to hold the platform, right? Then we pass this over back to you. Now you get up on the fan, and now we have somewhere to actually jump. Take control of the one carrying the platform, and that should give us access here to the connector. So now we have the connector. This also does, the elevated position here does allow us to get access to red. But I think what we actually want is to get blue first, because there's a blue receiver there that opens that door. So if we go over to this side, what I can do is establish a connection with the blue connector, like this, and that should save that connection as I pass control back. And now I can go back up here, pass control back over, jump to this platform, and now connect. I do want to connect to the blue receiver, but I can put the connector here and pass control back over, and now I should be able to find a position where I have access to the blue source. Pass control back over to you. Now we're in here. Now we probably need to do the same thing, except we need it to be a shift over to red, hence the name Redshift. But how exactly do I do that? Because I need one of us to be in here. Because I need to open that door. They are giving us horizontal bars here. The horizontal bars. There's even a ladder on that side. Oh. Why is there a ladder over there? I suppose it's because... It's because we could be riding on the platform and just jump over behind this fence. Is that what we want to do? How does this look? How does it look where we have the red emitter connected to here? How are we doing this? Because you need to have the connector elevated, correct? In order to gain access to the red emitter, it has to be at least as high as this fence. So it kind of has to be on top of our clone carrying the platform, doesn't it? But the problem is, if I were to set that up, if I were to... Oh, I can set up this connector. That's what I can do. The connector, let's keep the connections. I don't have to just connect this to the blue receiver and emitter. I can also connect it to the red receiver and the red emitter. It can actually house all 4 of those connections. And because when you move from one side to the other, line of sight blocks the other one, and it'll prevent blue from interfering with red and vice versa. So now all we have to do is pass control back over here and just redo what we did before. That should do it. Simple as that, right? Actually, pretty simple, I think. Let's see if that works out. So we have all 4 of those connections. We can now put that on here, and we pass control back to you, and now we send you over here to activate the blue. Pass control back over, and we move into the the airlock, or the temporary holding area, and we pass control back over to the red. And we have line of sight from here. We just need line of sight now back to our So I guess I have to shift you over here just slightly so that I am seen from the window. And now we should be good to go. There we go. Pass control, please. Thank you. And we're in. Boom. Got him. And that gives us 8 puzzles now.
Did you see how 1K solved that one?
No, sorry.
Oh, it was really clever.
Okay, sure. Alcatraz, pay attention. But also, it wasn't that bad. We should, though, check out the Sphinx Monument now that we are in the vicinity. Let's take a look. The Sphinx Monuments have been the trickiest so far. What am I looking at here? It's a map of the island, or a map of this area. And I'm also seeing the letters A, C, and T, which spells act. I don't know if the word act is significant. Did this take a picture? It did take a picture. Okay, so we've got our reference photo in case we want to figure it out later. I think what it wants us to do is, because we saw that 9, it was like a 9-digit or 9-button panel behind one of the puzzles over on the other side. I think it wants us to make the letter A by pressing down the right buttons. And there's going to be another set of buttons that we can find in these other areas of the island. Let's see if that's true. So if that is true, we're here, I think. I think this counts as the Sphinx Monument, and this here is like puzzle 7, maybe? Or do I have this backwards? Because this is the structure where we started, isn't it? And so it's actually, we're actually maybe somewhere over here. Is there a panel? Is there a panel nearby this one? We need to find where the other sets of 9 buttons are, I think, is what we need to do. It could be that the Sphinx Monument is not depicted on here. This might actually be puzzle 6. Let's just look around puzzle 7 and see if there were some buttons on the outside. Aha! There are some buttons on the outside of 7. So let's look at that engraving one more time. I think that makes sense. The way that there's a little line from the T pointing to that side of the building, I think that's where the buttons are here on number 7. So I think we want to make this the letter T. Now, it could be, there is a chance. Aha, it tells you the pattern is already solved. I was wondering if it was gonna give you some feedback on that, because technically you might You could also make the letter T by pressing these 4 buttons on the side and then leaving the T part unpressed. But it tells you that we're on the right track. So we just need to find the other sets of buttons and fill it in, and we should be good to go. So we'll make our way over here to, I think this is number 8 down here. Okay, it looks like I'm also seeing the entrance to our lost lab here. So why don't we take a look inside before we head to puzzle 8. Got a blue door this time. Our usual generator here. And what do we have? Yeah, very blue look to this lab. Oh boy, look at that. There we go. This is our... So instead of a preview, this looks like it's depicting what we've already seen here. Maybe that magnetic one that we saw before is still a preview, just of a mechanic we haven't seen yet. Interestingly, there doesn't appear to actually be a number on this one, even though we've seen 1K on the clones in the puzzle. Just a little detail there to note. Let's see what we find on the palm reader. From Quentin, archived message from Quentin to Athena. Dear Founder, I never got to know you. People tell all these stories about you, and I don't know what to believe. Some people say to ask Cornelius, others say Cornelius is too blinded by grief. Some say Byron stands for the truth, others say he's a fanatic and a radical and we should listen to the mayor. There doesn't seem to be a way of getting a straight answer. Why did you abandon us to this chaos? Why can't you just come back and sort it out? If you're reading these messages, don't you care? From Rodam to Athena. Dear Founder, thank you for everything you did for us. I'm grateful for the life that we have, which would not exist without you. I hope wherever you are now, you are at peace. Just a couple people in search of answers. Founder, do you have them? We need those answers. Noema Project, author Athena. More notes about the trials. Version point 12, successfully deployed. New labs established to avoid interference for successful duplication of advanced machinery. Trials 1001, 13 through 1308. Really getting up in those numbers here. Data collection and analysis, translation, groping in the dark. Trial 1309. But QTF fails to account for this. Must rerun trials. Maybe God was just trying to make an apple pie from scratch. What the heck is going on here? And some schematics. Who knows what's going to happen whenever you download some schematics. Okay, no overloads this time. Did we get something helpful for Melville?
This looks like it has something to do with energy generation. Am I reading this right?
You probably are reading it right. We have another palm reader here. Oh man. They were really putting us through our paces here. Let's keep going through the reading, though. From Belzeran, another letter to the Founder. Oh, great and sacred Founder, I believe I've discovered the truth that our so-called leaders have hidden from us. This absurd and sacrilegious goal they have us working towards. This hubristic completion day foolishness was never your true intent. Even this abomination of a city that calls itself New Jerusalem is a deception. Why would you want us to return to the sinful ways of our ancestors, strangling the living soil with steel and concrete? No, it was when you and the first companions lived humbly amongst the splendors of Gaia, having no need for all this wasteful ostentation inherited from our weak and decadent ancestors, that you showed us the true path. After all, why would the progenitor have given us such hardy bodies if she had intended for us to live in unearned luxury? From the very first, we were built to be free from pride and material excess. Your teachings have been obscured and perverted by ideologues, worst of all by the traitor Byron, who once was like a son to you, but you should know that there are still those of us who remember the truth and await the blessed day of your return, when surely justice will be meted out and humanity will finally return to its intended path. Belzeran really knows how to lay on the fire and brimstone there. The Shutdown, author Olufemi Kaneda. I feel like we've heard that name before. What is this? Ground Zero. What is this picture going on? The shutdown. We assembled on the vast green lawn outside as the reactors began to slowly wind down. The workers were solemn. The activists who had fought against the decommissioning seemed crushed. There was supposed to be a speech, but the spokeswoman had lost her notes. Outside, the protesters cheered. My eyes were drawn to the discarded anti-shutdown banners, endlessly reciting the facts. The statistics on mortality per trillion, kilowatt hours, lowest of all energy sources, the lifespan of a reactor, 70 more years in our case, minimal land footprint, almost zero emissions, no intermittency. It became a jumble of words, a litany, almost a kind of, what is this word? Glossolalia? Hey Siri, what is glossolalia? So Siri says Glossolalia, or speaking in tongues, is speaking rapid speech-like syllables which cannot be understood. Today I learned. As far as the protesters outside were concerned, it might as well be an alien tongue. One thing was clear to them, and that was enough. The technology inside this compound was deeply inherently wrong. It was a sin. I could not help but think of that moment on August 6, 1945, when the sky erupted above Shima Hospital. My imagination could never fully encompass it. How do you imagine more than 70,000 people annihilated in an instant? An ancestor of mine was in that hospital. He went from being a doctor, a husband, a father, a pacifist stuck in a terrible war, to being a pile of bleached bones covered in rubble, all in a single second. Not by accident, but because of a choice someone made. Not because of a reactor, but because of a bomb. Just 2 days earlier, contradicting his campaign promises, the Prime Minister had suggested that the use of tactical nuclear weapons would be an acceptable risk if the conflict continued. Very few seem to find this particularly shocking or outrageous. They were afraid of reactors, but not of bombs. The spokeswoman gave up on finding her notes. It was starting to rain and people were walking away. She grabbed the microphone. "By the time you regret this, it'll be too late," she said. "But honestly, I don't know if I care anymore. Maybe you have it coming." Miranda, the spokeswoman, sounds so bitter. The protesters didn't mean any harm. From their perspective, they were doing good. Athena, people always think they're doing good when they get collectively outraged. That doesn't make them right. That's very true. Collective action can change the world when it's deliberate and based in reason, but it can also become a mental trap or a societal pressure valve. Who is this other failed to load profile? It feels like there's a third voice here that we're going to be finding out soon. Cliché, author 5358. Maybe that's who we're gonna find out the identity of 5358 eventually. The thought-terminating cliché to Miranda. As you continue your reading, there's a useful concept that I would like you to keep in mind. The thought-terminating cliché. This is a type of phrase, often a slogan or a saying, which sounds meaningful but is really intended to make you stop thinking. To pick an example from our history, someone in the simulation might say things like, "It's the will of Elohim," or "It serves the process." And that would be that. Case closed. Who knows how many iterations never advanced further because they just stopped thinking at that point. Do note, however, that a thought-terminating cliché is not the same as a lie. It may very well contain elements of truth, but those elements are used to keep you from questioning a whole set of assumptions that come with it, which may be partially or totally false. This often takes the form of appealing to something you care about. We must protect X, where X is a nation, a philosophy, public order, or even the planet itself. But while you may agree with that element, all kinds of assumptions may be included about how to protect something, or who to protect it from, or what the end goal of protecting it is. If you stop there just because you agree with the surface level statement, the results may be the opposite of everything you wanted. Like those who chose to serve Elohim, and in doing so, prevented him from achieving his true purpose. I do like this one a lot. I feel like this is a very, very relevant writing that you should always be thinking, what are the underlying assumptions, what are the underlying premises, and not just accepting them whole cloth. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily wrong, but always be thinking, always be questioning. Puzzle 8. Let's check out Drilling Party. It's a drilling party, my favorite. Where's the party? Where are we drilling? This is a big open area to start this puzzle here. Where exactly are we wanting to use? There's actually stairs. Huh. Is this the first puzzle we've had stairs in? Look at this. Okay, we have quite the layout here. We've got at least 2 clones that I can see, and the ability to drill some walls from elevation here. Okay, and then pass control over. This is kind of fun. It's fun when you have... I'd like to see more puzzles like this that have this kind of spread out architecture or layout that allows you to... I think it feels really fun to kind of navigate back and forth between the clones. Now, in this case, we can't grab control of you because you are behind a force field, but we can grab control of this one because you're behind bars. Is that the first thing that we want to do? Where else would we want to apply the driller? I think that's maybe where we start. Because if we go here... not sure. If we go here... This opens this force field, and that gives us access to this emitter. Now, getting access to that emitter doesn't do much for us yet, because we kind of need a connector. So how do I do that? I think what I need to drill this wall, because what that does for me is it gives me line of sight to this clone from this angle. So now I'm sort of ping-ponging here to get over to you. And now I have a connector. Now with that connector, I can open this up, maybe. Yes. And I'm free. Cool. So that feels like step one. We can also now grab access to this connector. No, we cannot. Hold on. I need to do something a little different. What I think I need to do actually is probably put this connector through here and open that. So now this connector is on the outside, and I don't really need to be in this. I don't need this anymore, right? This little area here is done with. So now I can open the force field using the connector. So now I have two connectors. Now, ultimately, where is the end of the puzzle? That part, I don't remember. I guess it's over here. So we're going to have to maneuver through quite a number of force fields. So this is going to be fun. And also a little tricky to navigate. Can we get you out? Maybe we don't have to, maybe we don't have to get you out. The next step here, we could put a connector here to open that force field. We could also put a connector here, but then we have a force field that needs to be lowered via a red beam. So what I probably need to do is take one of these and have it here. There are driller walls here as well. So driller walls are probably involved. Maybe we have to actually put one of these here. Okay, ultimately... Let's look again from up here. Let's go back to a bird's eye view. We've got 3 force fields. 2 of them are lowered via pressure plate. The last one, red source. Or red beam. And then we have one final one at the goal that is also lowered by a pressure plate. There are so many driller walls that they're giving us. Are we supposed to do... Let's say we take you... I'm going to break these connections for now. Let's say we put this here. And now we pass control over to you. And we can drill... We can drill a hole here. If I drill a hole there... It almost feels like I need to find a way... that I need to find a way to get you out. But how do I do that? Maybe not. Maybe I don't have to do that. We can pass connectors through driller walls, but not one of us. We cannot go through the driller wall. It's not big enough. Like, I don't think it would be too terribly complicated if what we wanted to do was take this converter, hook it up to both of the red, the red emitter and the red connector, and then put it here, and then do something with the jammer, where we are opening up a connection to that, and that would let us get through here. Cool. Now what? Because now that we're here, is there any way for us to... Is there any way... It's like I need one more thing, don't I? I need one more thing to put here. What is that thing supposed to be? I don't have any way to get through from this side. Right? This is all walled off to me. I don't see any way for us. We're only from this side, the only thing that we can do is really drill walls. Drill holes in walls. They do give us this hole over here by this clone, which has to be important in some way, right? This has to be significant. How is this significant? I think it is probably significant in that I think I know what it wants us to do. Let's pass control back over here. Let's pass control back over here. Because right now, not that far. We want to actually go back to you. Right now, shit, I need to put the jammer back. Put the jammer back where it was before, where it was creating the red beam, or a hole for the red beam. And now, I think what we want to actually do is switch places with this connector. This connector needs to switch places with this clone. So now you go here, and we'll get we'll bring you so we can see you. We have line of sight, and we're gonna bring you to stand on this pressure plate. Yes. Let's see if this works. Because now what I should be able to do, we go through here, and not quite though, because this driller wall is not near. I don't think it's near enough for us to actually grab the connector. But let's try. I could be wrong. No, it's too far away. That was my idea, was to try to grab this connector through here. Can I still do that? Can I still pass? I can still do that, because I think that actually was my original idea. I don't even need... No, I need this driller to stay here, and what I need to do is just pass control back over to you. That was the point of putting this robot here, was that so that I could come back over and then pass this through as the final step. There we go. All right, finally pieced it together, I think. And now we should be able to take control, and we're at the finish line. All right. That feels good. I can feel a little bit of the brain energy starting to wind down here at the end of the session. We'll see if we can soldier on through. There should be... This is the puzzle 8, and I do believe there should be another panel or a set of buttons on the outside here somewhere. See if we can find that. It actually does not appear to be here. Or is there a lost puzzle that we're supposed to look for? There is a lost puzzle down here, isn't there? Okay, so let's check the outside of the lost puzzle, because maybe that's where we find this panel, although it's a little bit precarious to navigate. Is it here? Here we go. Okay, it was all the way in the back. Now this one is not 9 buttons. This is 12. I think this one was supposed to be C. Let's just double check here. But I think this was the C. No, this one's supposed to be A, isn't it? I guess that makes sense. You would need to have 4 rows in order to make an A. Okay, so the A should look like this. Oh. What buttons are getting pressed here? This is not working out the way that I want it to. Hold on. I think I accidentally... Yeah, there we go. This pattern's already solved. I just accidentally pressed the center one there. Okay, so the A is locked in, and we'll make our way eventually back to the last panel on the far side that we first saw, because now we know what to actually put there. And while we're here, we will try and solve the second lost puzzle. Interplay. We have a box. And I would presume there is a clone somewhere. We've had a clone in every single puzzle so far. Will they throw us one where we don't? I don't think so. We just need to find where the clone is at. We can actually just jump over this fence. This is... Okay, that fence is so short. We can actually just jump straight over that. That threw me a little bit off, because I don't think we've seen one of those yet. Now, what do we do with that? What do we actually do with that? There is a fence here, which maybe we can get over... No. Wait, was I on the hexahedron? Hold on here. There we go. But I still don't think I can make it over. So I think what we need to do is just use that, and then that gets us up here. Okay. Now what? There's our clone. Behind a force field. We have a blue source and a connector that we can free with red. There is another fan activated by a pressure plate. There is a red source here behind this force field, which we could jump over to. And then there's a connector out in the open. Let's go down here. There's our ultimate goal. So we need blue to get to the goal. Pressure plate here, which lowers this force field. Got it. So what I want to do, I think, is I free our clone by stepping on this pressure plate and then taking control. So now we have our clone. The next step is I think we want to get red over to that side. So we want to shoot red where? We have that box on the other side, and we can get back to the other side with this ladder. There is a fan here. I'm guessing the fan is how we're going to elevate the red signal over this middle barrier. But wouldn't we need a box for that? We can probably get a box because we can go back over the ladder. I keep forgetting to press E to climb ladder. So we get over here, and now our box... I think we want to bring the original. It's actually the original. Hard to keep track of who's the clone and who's the original. Although at this point, who knows? We've been through so many puzzles. The original may have been left way far behind. I have not been keeping track. So... Right. So we can take the box to the other side by having you stand on the pressure plate. Or us, instead of the box. Now we can take the box over here. And I think that allows us to... What we need to do is we need to bring our clone back into line of sight. Over here. And now we set up this connector. I think we can keep the connections that it already has, and we just add in that second red receptor, and now we put it on the box. And now that is lit up. We pass control back over to get this connector. And now we have access to blue, which is what we want to get to the goal. So I think now we need... We need this connector now to not be transmitting red any longer, so we need to break all that. Pass this back over. Pass control back over here. So let's break all the connections. And now just connect that up to the blue receiver. We will need, in order to get to the goal, let's see if we can do this. Because I think we need to get both of our copies to this side eventually. Right now, I can connect blue up to this. Let's see if we can find the place where it sees. Oh wait, that is not... Ooh, This fence, while it is low enough to jump over, it is not low enough to transmit over. So that's a bit of a wrinkle that I wasn't expecting. How do I deal with that? The box needs to be involved, maybe? We kind of need the box back over here, don't we? Is that the case? Can I back this up at all? Is there any angle where the blue does actually work? Over here it does? I can actually back up over here, and the blue is actually visible. But the moment I go closer, it's not. Could I jump in here? Is this a thing I could do? no, even if I put it all the way on this wall, it's not gonna see. Too short to get over the middle wall. That's fascinating that this actually counts over here. I don't know if I can... I can't take this with me. If I get on the fan, I'm not allowed to grab that probably, right? And even if I could, it would deactivate the fan. Does this have line of sight to... It doesn't have direct line of sight to the emitter, right? There's walls in the way. So we kind of need two connectors to relay the blue emitter to the finish line. What am I missing here? Do I have to have this thing on the box here, on the fan? Or could I put it somewhere else? Here? Could I put the box here and have one single connector that sees the emitter and also the finish line? Is this the magic spot that I've just managed to notice? How would I get the box back up here? I can't pass this back up to you, can I? I can take control, but I can't grab the box. Is the box stuck over here? It feels like the box might be stuck on this side. Let's look around again. This felt pretty good to be able to put an emitter, sorry, a connector on a box right here. But if I can't get the box up here, then that's a no-go. We might need to at least bring our clone back over, which we can do with this ladder. So if we come back over here, I don't think this gets us in trouble. Other than being able to see back to our other clone, but that's okay. Or not, that is not a problem, turns out. Because now we can, let's see if we can keep the connections here. And let's get on the fan. Pass control to the clone and boost us up. So now we have the connector up here. Is that good enough? We still can't see over this little barrier, right? This little barrier in the way is causing problems, which is why it feels like we need the box. But I'm not sure how to get the box back. I wonder if this connector here might barely have line of sight of one of the corners in this part with the blue emitter, and maybe we just need to bring this connector back across. Can we do that? But that still might be a problem, because how do I get... If I put this box down, does this let me bring, like, if I need to bring my clone back into line of sight? Like, am I able to pass this connector up on the box? Is that high enough to take the connector? Okay, so I can do that. And now we go over here, and I should have connected to this guy first, but it's behind the fence. It's behind the fence. It doesn't have line of sight. I don't think it does. No. It felt like that was going to be just too... Man, we need the box. Don't we need the box up on that ledge? Do I have to restart? Do I have to reset the puzzle? Did I screw up by getting the box over here? We needed the box, I think, in order to open up this red. In order to open up this force field and even get access to the second connector. So we probably had to bring the box here. And if that's the case, then I don't think we can bring the box back to the other side. Is there something I'm missing on that front? Is it possible that I... What happens if I put the box up against the... Dang it. Up against the fence here? That doesn't give me... Like, I can't set a connector on top of this. I'm starting to think of some overcomplicated jury-rig solutions that are not along the intended lines. They've put this fencing up on this ledge here, it feels like, to just exactly block what I'm trying to do. Okay, I took a little lunch break because I needed to get that fresh brain energy. So we've got our puzzle reset here, and we're going to take a look at it from the top, see if that lunch break fresh brain energy can kick in. So the box starts on this side, and it feels like somehow it needs to be involved here because we can't lower this gate. It's not really a gate, but this low fence is kind of getting in our way. But at the same time, we kind of need the box on the other side, don't we? In order to get access to... Oh, I see. This is actually our clone that was in here from the beginning, not a connector. I had forgotten what was behind the red force field. The red powered force field. Initially, the only step that we can really take, I think, is to use the box to power the fan, which gets us up here. That feels like that has to be step one. There's nothing else to do, right? So from here, that gets us to this side, which gives us access to this connector, which then gives us access to what we did, I think, the first time around was opening up this force field to get access to the clone. Now we have two clones and a connector in this area. What's the next step? Eventually, we need to get blue here. And I think the only way that we could get blue... What does that look like at the end? The very end of the puzzle. Because from what we saw before, the emitter doesn't have line of sight with the connector unless it's elevated. Let's bring our clone over to this side. We do have a two-way ladder. This ladder does let us move back and forth between the two sections, but does it let us bring a box through? The next step has to be releasing this second connector, right? Because with just this connector, we're not able to relay blue from here to the end. So we have to have two connectors, right? So that means that... It means that we have to take that box over so that we can raise it up on the fan. We can raise the connector up on the fan. Correct? I feel like I'm doing basically the exact same steps as before. I guess what I'm doing is this. Then you take control of the... Now you can pass up the box to your... So we pass up the box here. But then it's sort of stuck on this side, isn't it? Is that okay? It feels like it's not okay. But is there anything else we can do? if I put the box up here, is that what I need to be focused on? Is doing something with the box up here? Did I go too far by taking the box down? You know what? I need to test something, actually. I need to test whether... when I'm holding this, I don't think any connections can be active when I'm holding this. I think I already know the answer to my question. Let's pass control back over to this clone and go over the ladder. But I don't think we can just hold the connector ourselves and transmit a beam. Correct? Because it only transmits once we put down the connector. And that would be just dropping it. So if we want to elevate a connector, it has to be on a box. And that feels like that has to be here on this fan. To get the blue to the end, we only have the one blue source. Let's look at this again over on this side. The blue source, if we stand where the blue source is. Do we want the connector to be here? Is it as simple as that? Have I just been really badly overcomplicating this? Wouldn't be the first time. We need to get this second connector out. So I guess let's do that. Because I think the only way to do it is with bringing the box over. So let's bring the box over here. So the box goes here. We bring in the red receiver there. And now that connects to everything. We need to bring you back into line of sight. I feel like this is the only way to do this. Now we have access to this connector. And now we don't have to open that anymore, right? So now this can be just connected to blue. The problem here is that there's a couple problems, I think. What is the most pressing one, though? Hold on, I need to add one more connection. Does this work? Holy shit, it does work. Okay, I was just overlooking the fact that this is actually within line of sight if you put the connector just on that ledge. Somehow I discounted that. I don't know how I did that. I was just overlooking, making a silly assumption. That's what I was doing. I think we've got it. I think we finally got it. The Fresh Brain Energy, I think, is going to get us there because now we just need to power you. And then we need to pass back control to you. And we're in. Okay. Woo! That took longer than it should have. But, you know, sometimes that hungry, exhausted brain just can't get over the finish line. All right, we've got Yakut right here. Let's go ahead and get the conversation
Miranda
with
is
Yakut
the
as well.
daughter. It's still kind of blowing my mind. She came all the way out here, left everything she had behind, and created a new life. Why do you think she did that?
I really don't have a good guess on this one, so I'm going to go with I don't have a clue.
Neither do I. Maybe she was just lonely.
How are you feeling?
I'm not sure, to be honest. This is all so surreal. Walking around here is so peaceful, but it's also, I don't know. One moment I feel inspired, the next, kind of creeped out.
Did you ever meet the founder?
No, I never did. I would have loved to.
Have you changed your mind about trying some puzzles, you could? Huh?
Nope.
Just no. What did you make of the megastructure's interior?
You know, people throw around the word awesome a lot. I probably do it too, but I think what we saw in there is the proper meaning of the word.
So I'm wondering if the Prometheus sprite reset when I reset the game. It looks like it didn't. So it has progressed to wherever it is now, and I'm not sure where that is. So I guess let's head back up to the Prometheus monument and see if we can spot its location from there. All right, so assuming that this this vapor, I'm pretty sure this points us in the direction of the sprite, then it's over this way. If I'm pointing, let me see if I can trace that downward here. I can't exactly see it from here, but it felt like it was supposed to be near this lost puzzle. Where the heck did this thing go? Like, this is where I thought it went at the very outset, but that's when we lost the music. The chase music changed back to the regular music, and I've never spotted it since. It feels like the vapor was pointing in this direction, but I don't see any sign of it, so maybe it's further down somewhere else in that direction. While we're here, we'll go ahead and do the last letter of our puzzle, which was this one supposed to be C? There we go. Okay, so we have now the Sphinx star. Once we make our way back around to that side, I want to keep finding, or I want to keep looking for this Prometheus sprite. Where did it go? I kind of wish that I could reset it. Is that a thing I can do? Like, if I hold down X, it does reset things, apparently, outside of the puzzle. Is that what I have to do? How much does this actually reset things? I'm actually going to go grab the Sphinx star first, just to be safe. Just in case it were to reset those panels. And what the heck, while we're here, let's grab Alcatraz. We'll try to get all the dialogue this time before we move on. Did you know the founder?
I sure did. Not as well as Byron, but she was still around when I was born. I remember she came and talked to me after New Alexandria, told me how sorry she was. I never blamed her for that. It wasn't her responsibility.
But she obviously did feel some culpability. What was New Jerusalem like when you were born?
A lot busier than it is now. My most defining memory is that it was extremely noisy, because something was always being built. Got annoying after a while.
I can relate. What do you think about the body replication tech?
It seems like something that could very quickly get out of control. You know that saying about good intentions? If we can solve problems by just making more people, how long before people just become a problem-solving tool?
Are you sure we're not already at that point? What do you think about Miranda's idea that it's our duty to spread life?
Our ancestors thought they could introduce new species to existing ecosystems, and it never turned out well.
It's interesting that it gives you this answer. I don't think that applies to places where there is no life, like other planets. I think I'll go with make sense for now, just because this other one seems a little wild to me. I'm not sure why it's here.
Like a lot of things Miranda says, it sounds pretty, but once you think about it, you start seeing the problems.
Tell me about New Alexandria.
For some reason, we'd convinced ourselves that New Jerusalem wasn't enough, that we needed another city. We thought it would be easier the second time around. All it takes is a little bit of arrogance and a little bit of ignorance, and people die.
You can really get a picture of why Alcatraz is the way he is. He might not have always been that way, but he's definitely been shaped, in particular by the events at New Alexandria. But either way, we finally have our Sphinx star. Let's go.
If the fool persisted in his foolishness, would he become wise?
Okay, so now let's try doing a reset. I think this was the spawn point of the Prometheus sprite. So let's do a reset here and see if it comes back. No, it does not. Shit. So how do we find this thing? Where the hell is it? Oh, I see it now. There it is. Gosh, it's hiding inside one of the puzzles that we already did. That is sneaky. I didn't even think about that possibility. So we have to start following this thing now into actual into puzzles areas. And we have to get up to the high ground as well. Okay. Got to start thinking inside the box, it turns out. Okay, that reset did not do what I was wanting it to do, but it still accomplished the same goal in a little different way. So let's rebuild our platform here that we had before. We need a box, and then we need a platform, and then we need to transfer control to you. And we get up here, and we get up here, transfer control, jump up here, transfer control back, and that's not quite good enough. We actually, looks like, need to, can I jump to this? I can't quite jump to that. I need to get the full solution like we would, like we did for the original puzzle. We just need to do it over here. So now I need to come down and have you, no, how do we need to do this? We need to get you in the mix at this point, I think, so that we have, actually, you get off of the box, you get on the box and get on here, and then you get on the box, and now you get up here. This is, now we go, I transferred control to the wrong person. Whoops. I didn't mean to transfer control. What I meant to do is jump. How did I do that? I must have pressed E. And now we need you to get here. And then I like this one. This might be my favorite of the area. It really takes the mechanic, it puts it to its fullest. Well, you could obviously you could just keep going probably if you have enough platforms and enough clones. But either way, we were on the chase has resumed. Let's go. We're not going to lose sight of you this time. Hopefully. And we're not going to lose our funky tune either. Did it go in here? Ah, okay, so it kind of, no, it's behind. Gosh, that made me think we were doing the puzzle again. Of course, we've already done the puzzle. We already have the force field open. It doesn't really matter. Okay, can I go down this way? Or is this, that might be a fall to my death. Gotta be careful here. I think we're okay if we go down here. Alrighty, we should be in the clear now. This tune cracks me up. It's so funky fresh. And there we go. Prometheus star. Show yourself. I love these animations. Ta-da!
We cannot return to the past, but the future can redeem all that has happened.
Okay, so let's just try and tie up the rest of our loose ends here in terms of terminals, palm readers. We might have a little bit more dialogue as well. I think one of those palm readers was down here. Way over there. And so let's check this one out. A lithosphere recording.
As we continue exploring the cold northern reaches of the island, the contrast between the harshness of this place and the softness of New Jerusalem becomes more and more pronounced. There is a kind of madness in what we are doing, going to a place that is so hostile to our existence. That does not mean there is nothing to love here. There is, in fact, a great beauty
but it is a hateful beauty. A beauty you can only love because there are places that are not like this. And yet, it is precisely this hateful beauty that the people of New Jerusalem fail to see, and so cannot understand their own blessings.
Oh, okay. I did not explore on these stairs, I guess, because there looks like another, well, maybe our first audio log of both Athena and Miranda.
I wonder what it was like when the ancients were still here. Their world seems so lively.
Not always in a good way. Interesting times are great to read about, but rarely great to experience.
That's true. But they left behind so much art and philosophy and religion, and so many strange stories. Is New Jerusalem like that?
It was, in the beginning.
I'm wondering if Athena's voice actor might be the same as the voice actor for Alexandra Drennan, which would make sense that Athena would have patterned her voice after the progenitor. Did we explore this structure down here? This is the last question mark, I think. I think I saw it when I was circumnavigating the island, and it looked like it was just a terminal, a notable structure, and just a palm reader. So let's check it out. On the Past, from Arkady Chernyshevsky's In Our Likeness, Essays on Humankind Reaching Adulthood. With alarming frequency, our mythological narratives conceptualize our separation from nature as a fall, a punishment for sinning, a loss of innocence, a decline from a golden age. We believe that a better state for humanity is possible, but insist that this state must be in the past. And yet our historical experience has been the opposite. For all the horrors of modern war, and they are considerable, relatively few people today have to suffer the unspeakable agonies that our ancestors went through on a daily basis. It is doubly ironic that we place our golden ages in the past, but very rarely ever consider what life was actually like for the people whose genes we carry. How cold they were, how hungry, how frightened of the cruelty of nature, what unspeakable pains they must have experienced when they were sick or injured, how many of the children they had to lose, unable to help, begging the heavens for mercy and never receiving an answer. The past is a slowly receding tidal wave of grief. 5358. The battle for human emancipation is not yet won, and the path has been far from straightforward, and yet, in but a few thousand years, we have eliminated a great deal of suffering that before must have seemed unavoidable and eternal. Some still suffer, their lives held ransom by politics and economics, but at least now we know that a better world is truly possible, and it lies in the future. Founding 4, Hypatia's Journal number 4, Day 132. We had a bit of an incident today, nothing major, but it still woke us all up. Sun was away from the camp, alone, even though we had agreed that we should always go in teams, and she encountered a group of the herbivores that we saw on the first day. Cows, they're called. Okay, they're apparently our ancestors kept them as livestock. Eustathia says they squeeze them for liquid, but I find that hard to believe. Oh, it's true. But I digress. Sun encountered a herd, and just as predicted, the animals were passive at first, friendly even. Sun decided to abandon her survey to study them for a while, which went well, until a group of wolves, formerly dogs, a type of pet, entered the clearing, causing a stampede. Sun is all right, only minor scratches to the bodywork and a few torn wires, but it was a close call. I guess we'd gotten a little complacent, a little too comfortable. We'll have to be more careful from now on. Nothing like a stampeding herd of cows to ruin your day. And we got another log from Trevor.
Now I have to talk science fiction for a bit because I love science fiction, but it drives me nuts. There's this cliche that shows up over and over, and every time someone uses it, everyone pretends it's really profound. It goes something like this. A scientist invents something good, but, oh no, it's actually really bad. You could have something that makes your life better, but no, you can't. How dare you even want it? That's hubris. That's playing God. And it's never anything that reflects the real world, right? It's never, oh no, you invented a vaccine for cervical cancer. Oh no, you invented a new class of antibiotics. Oh no, you cured malaria. How dare you? Those diseased mosquitoes are way more important than human lives. How did science fiction become so reactionary? You know, if we all thought this way, you guys wouldn't even exist. At least Alex agrees with me. She has good taste.
So I think Melville might be around somewhere with some more dialogue, but I can't seem to find her right now. So we are going to press forward to the Tetromino Bridge. It's time for us to Move toward the tower. Let's get this going here. We have, wow, okay, all 8 pieces that are gonna fit together for this one. So, and we have to navigate through a walled area here. So there's only so many pieces that are gonna fit the bill, I think. That one doesn't work, huh? What's wrong with that one? Oh, I thought there was a square here. I didn't realize this was an S piece. I thought it was one of these L shapes. That's what we want. Maybe? Is this where we want a square? And then... do we have another square? We don't have another square. 4 bar is going to be too long. Do we want this guy? That feels... no, that's wrong. So we want... I might not have used the right shape before this. What did I use? I used a square. I think I had to start with an S shape and then an L. Those were kind of forced. At this point, is a square not forced? If we take this, what else do we have the option to use? This one would fit, but the red goes into the wall. The red tile faces the wall, so I don't think that works. The 4 bar doesn't work, right? The T shape doesn't fit. The S shape also doesn't fit. It feels like, oh, this one might work. This T shape is, I'm seeing Melville walking down there right now. And the completionist in me wants to get her dialogue, but we're gonna keep doing the Tetromino puzzle here. I think maybe this was the answer, and now we can go to the square. Okay. And then maybe the 4 bar is next, because that gets us out of this space, and now we're in an open area where we can maybe do whatever. Not quite. Let's back this up to here. There we go. Just a little fiddling, and we're there. We are at the tower. Up we go. Who are we going to meet this time? Sphinx again. Sphinx loves to see us at the end.
Humankind, Prometheus was punished by being bound to a rock, there to be eternally tormented. The chains that held him were forged by Hephaestus, blacksmith to the gods. Was Hephaestus right to allow his art to be used in this fashion?
Again, I don't really know the original story from Greek mythology, but I don't think the game necessarily expects you to. I think they are just wanting you to sort of go with your gut. How about you just cut out the cryptic nonsense and tell me if Athena is here? Let's go with that one. Let's just see how she responds to a more like cut the bullshit answer.
Who is this Athena you speak of?
Oh, and now you're going to play dumb, huh? Oh, for crying out loud. Maybe she doesn't know what's going on, right? We don't know exactly who or what this is that we're looking at. A human, looks a bit like me. Older model though. Ring any bells?
Is it Athena you seek, or yourself? Do you speak crudely because you are wise, or because you are a child?
You know what, lady? I've had about enough of your antics. I've had enough of your riddles. I just want a laser. Just give me my goddamn laser. Shoot this thing, and let's get it going. Green laser time activated.
Pattern is holding. Solve the puzzles, enter the tower, speak to an entity, turn on the beam. It's like she's appealing to our past, reminding us of where we came from, but changing enough elements to make us view our history through a different lens. Or maybe I'm completely missing the point. I don't know.
You might have something there.
I read about this in a book. It's called defamiliarization.
Yakut? I think I'm actually impressed.
Alrighty, I think that is where we're going to wrap up this installment of Talos Principle 2. Look at our cool green laser beam once again that we have lit. Another absolutely massive area. At first I thought it was going to be a little bit smaller with the way it opened up, and then so wrong. So much more to this area than I first thought. And I'm honestly a little bit exhausted at the moment. I feel accomplished. We got the puzzles done. We got the stars done. But they try to get you to think so much. There are so many ideas and philosophical ways of looking at things that they are trying to get you to think about, big ideas. And it's honestly, it's a little much at times, or it feels like too much, especially when you're trying to solve these difficult puzzles or tricky puzzles, and there's a lot of running around the island and trying to digest everything that they're getting you to think about. It can feel overwhelming. So we're gonna keep pressing ahead, and I am having a lot of fun with the puzzles, and that's what you have to do. You just have to keep your nose to the grindstone and keep solving those puzzles. And we've gotten started here, the first area in the northern section of things, and we'll be pressing on next time to find hopefully another new mechanic. Will that be our magnetism mechanic finally? We'll find out then. Thank you all very much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one.